Good morning. I love that song. I love Karen Drucker. I met Karen Drucker many years ago when she was just first coming into the New Thought movement. And before she found New Thought, she was a lounge singer. And she looks like Bette Midler. She's so fantastic. But her heart is so big. And her music is so, like, I had to come up quiet, right? Because it was like, oh yeah, we are the heart and the hands and the voice of a spirit on the world. We are a blessing to the world. Which goes perfectly, thank you, Gay, for our topic today, which is called to be. Who are we called to be? Marianne Williamson says, many of you probably know this, right? But take it in, take it in. This is who you're called to be. Or perhaps there's a calling inside this. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. As we let our own light shine, we subconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we're liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. We are here to make manifest the glory of God in our own way, in our own beingness, in our own unique expression of that which is God, which is love, which is light, which is the very presence, the very creation, the very source of all things. If that doesn't scare you a little bit, I can say it again. But why are we scared? Only because we're in our human experience. Only because we have our subconscious that says, who are you to be brilliant and bold and gorgeous and radiant and empowered? Who are you to be self-confident? Right? We have that within us. But that's not the truth of who we are or who we're called to be. We are called to make manifest the glory of God in us, through us, as us. We are called to do that individually, each of us. That means you and you and you and you and you and you and me. And we're called to do that collectively. Can you imagine, like, if this ministry fully embraced that? Can you imagine that if we went beyond, going beyond was my talk last week. If you missed it, it's online. Imagine if we were able to go beyond what we've thought, what we've been limited, beyond what we've done in the world. And that means more love, more kindness, more compassion, more impact, more hope for humanity, more spiritual awakening. And that is indeed what we are called to be, which is really about what we're called to do. But because we're human beings and we've mastered human doing, we're coming back to human being. We're called to be. We're just called to be. And that going beyond is simply the next step of our evolution. We are ever-evolving spiritual beings. There is only one presence and one power active in the universe. There's only one power. We call it God, source, good. Call it whatever name works for you. When I was in seminary, you know, we thought we were pretty hot stuff coming into seminary, and the first year was about knocking that down, right? But I had a classmate, and she's gone from the planet now, but she was amazing. She was brilliant, but she'd had some what she called religious abuse in her background. So she couldn't use the word God, right? And she had come through some 12-step programs and things like that, and she had to identify a higher power, as we do, in 12-step or not, in unity and spirituality. At some level, we have to acknowledge that which is greater than us. But she couldn't use the word God because it just didn't work for her. So she began to call God peanut butter. There's only one presence and one power active in the universe. We call it peanut butter. Right? Doesn't matter what you call it. Right? Many of us, in fact, I was having conversations in this last week or two with people about how the word God can be so limiting. How our understanding, how my understanding about I was going to say 10 years, about 13 years ago, I remember the day. I remember the moment in time, that was a period of weeks, where I couldn't say the word God. I'm like, wait a minute, my understanding is so much bigger than what I think the word represents. Now, I didn't choose to use the term peanut butter, but I could have, because again, it doesn't matter. But what I was tapping into is that the essence, the power, the presence is source. Is creation itself. It's the universe. It's the quantum, although I wasn't quite using that term yet. But it's all that is. And when I was able to let go of my limiting belief, because in that moment in time, when I said the word God, I had the old guy in the sky with the long white beard that was cursing me, right? Now, I'd gone far beyond my anthropomorphic experience of God, but there was still this sort of patriarch parent kind of feel to me in the word, right? Now, 13 years later, I can say the word God just fine. But if you notice, I also say God, source, creation, the universe, whatever you choose to call it, most of the time, right? Because I don't want anybody to be limited by what I say. My whole reason for being is to give you an opening in your brain, to give you an opening to be able to see something a little bit different maybe than you have before, to glimpse your glory, to glimpse your magnificence, your brilliance, your radiance, your potential, your possibility, but not even in the future. Right here, right now. So yesterday in our Stepping Stones workshop, and we'll hear more about it in our community connection, it was big. Was it big? It was big. It was big. I'm not going to talk about it now because I'm going to talk about it in the community connection. But a big part of that, it was entitled Expansive Empowered Living. But a big part of that is when you step up to the edge, when you go beyond, when you go into the next level of your becomingness, there is something you have to let go of, right? Because if you always do what you've always done and always thought what you've always thought, then you're always going to get what you've always got. That somebody like Gay should write a song. Maybe for next week. No pressure. I mean, it just kind of came out of my mouth like a jingle, didn't it? Anyway, and so part of that is letting go of what we used the word shadow yesterday, but letting go of our limits, letting go of our wounding, not like making it go away, but acknowledging it, and in that acknowledgement, actually integrating it so that we can be our next level of evolution, our next experience of being. And every single time we do that, our hearts can open more. Our minds can open more. We can bypass, intercept, interrupt the subconscious that goes yada, 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 yada. You're not, you are, don't do, you can't, you got that one too, right? every time we interrupt that and go, wait, is that truth? No. It's my experience, right? It's in my subconscious, but that has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with the truth of who you are. So in the class this morning, which I did interrupt, thank you very much. Thank you, she says, thank you for interrupting. Something came up about absolute and relative, and so we get to live in the relative world or the material world or the particle world. We talked about quantum yesterday too. But we also know the truth, which is the infinite, the divine mind, the divinity within us. And we get to navigate sort of between those. But we also don't want to, and Unity's been good at this, Unity's been really good at like denying our humanity. Like when Charles and Myrtle were first creating the movement, we didn't really think about the body yet. We didn't really think, it wasn't in the mass consciousness to think about what we're feeling. We didn't talk about those. There wasn't even language for it yet, really. But now we really have to embrace and embody our humanity. And the more that we embody and embrace our humanity, which is all of it, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? But we can accept it, allow it, acknowledge it, then our divinity shines through even more. But it's about bringing it out of those places that we're like, oh, I don't want to look at that. I don't want to talk about that. No, I'm not mad. No, I don't have shame. No, I don't have guilt. No, it's like, yeah, I do. That's a part of my humanity. Oh, interesting. I was say, oh, cool. I like to say, oh, cool, but sometimes you go, that's not cool. Well, what if it is? Because as soon as you see it, you can embrace it. As soon as you embrace it, you can go beyond it, transcending it, right? So it is Valentine's Day. I appreciate the 3 or 4 of you that have red on, and I appreciate Karen's Hershey kiss on her lapel. And so when I was thinking about called to be, it's like, well, what are we called to be? Well, the first commandment, right, all the way back in Deuteronomy is love the Lord God with all your heart, all your mind, all your strength, and all your soul. Love, love, love. Jesus said that's the greatest, and the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. Now, I could do a whole talk on what neighbor is, and I have, and I'm not going to today. But love your neighbor as yourself. That means, really, that you can only love as much as you love yourself. And that's where so many of us get caught up, right? We go, well, yeah, I can love you, but not me, right? Because you don't know all my warts and stuff. And we all have them. We all have our humanity. But it's not bad. It's part of our experience. And then Jesus goes on and he says one more, right? Love your enemies. Wait, what? Who are our enemies? Well, it's the guy that cut you off in traffic, or it's the woman who stepped in front of you in the checkout line, or it's somebody on the political arena, or maybe it's your weather person. Or somebody you know. But where are those places? The enemy is just that place where we have resistance to. Enemy is a strong word, but Jesus used strong words on purpose. But love, not resist. That also doesn't mean tolerate bad behavior, right? It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean to be a doormat. It doesn't mean that if you're in an abusive situation, you have to stay and you have to love. You have to take care of yourself. If you love yourself first, you will get out of a bad situation. You will take care of yourself. You will have good boundaries. All of that is part of loving ourselves. So there was a story by Anthony DeMello. Does anybody know Anthony DeMello? Oh my gosh, he's got these brilliant, he's all these books with all these brilliant, Zen parables and things like that. It's one of my favorites, and this one came up for me this week. Before the young man began his studies, he wanted assurance from the master. So it's very much master-disciple type of thing, which doesn't really work in our framework, but go with it. Like, just lean into it, okay? And the student says, "Can you teach me the goal of human life?" "I cannot," replied the master. "Or at least its meaning?" "No, I cannot." "Can you indicate to me then at least the nature of death and of life beyond the grave?" "Nope, I cannot." The young man walked away in scorn. The disciples were dismayed that their master had shown up in such a poor light. Feel some judgment here? Said the master soothingly, "Of what is it to comprehend life's nature and life's meaning if you have never tasted it? I'd rather you ate your pudding than speculate on it." Eat, bask, relish in what life gives us, and you will come to know life's meaning. You will come to know your own divinity. Is there healing to be done? Yeah, usually, generally, but so what? It's okay. What if we're here on this planet to not only relish on that pudding or the peanut butter, right? Or the sunset, or the sunrise, or the pet, or the baby, or life's experience, those experiences that life gives you that touches you, that causes you to pause, where you go beyond yourself to that which is greater. To eat of the pudding of life. And that is not only the good, right? But it's all of it, because the more that we experience all of it, it's said that you cannot experience true love until you've experienced betrayal or anything unlike love. But when you've experienced that, then you come to know true love even more. So even the hard stuff is here for us. There's a body of work that we teach called "There is Nothing and No One in the Universe Against Me." That sounds good, right? But when you take that body of work and you take it to heart and you savor it and you experience it, that means there is nothing in the universe that is against you, which means everything is for you, which means that there's only one presence and one power, and it's good all the time. But if you think something's against you, right? My life, that person, my situation, the experience I had, it's against me. What's wrong with me? We step into this victimhood as humans. But when we can lay that down and go, what if this is for me? How can I rewire this in my brain that it's for me? I'm not calling your bad experience good. I'm saying all things work together for good for those who love God, which means know God, which means know that there's another possibility. How can this time in Turkey, oh my gosh, you're never, ever, ever going to say that's good. You're not going to say it. Well, please don't say it. But can we find the places that it is creating more good? The way the people are showing up, the kindness and the compassion, and the way hearts are breaking open. Can we find good in it? Yes. But be careful, right? Because it's not about judging it. It's about being willing to find even a glimmer of good. Being willing to see that video of that little baby that was crushed out of its mother's womb and lived. And lived. The mother didn't. They named that baby Miracle. But what was the Aramaic or the language? Maya, which means miracle. There are miracles all around us. And as our humanity, we want to focus on what's wrong. But if we can begin to train our brains to see what's right, we can be inspired, not by the devastation, but by the miracles that are arising through that. We can begin to open our hearts even more. We can begin to love. Not like our human emotional love, like Valentine's love, which is like, I love you, I hate you, I love you, I love you, you're mad at me, I love you when you're good, I love you when you do the right things, I love you when you bring me chocolates and flowers, but not anywhere, whatever. That's human love. We're talking about the love that is God. It says in 1 John, if you know love, you know God. If you do not know love, you do not know God, because God is love. What if we're called simply to be more love? What if we're called simply to recognize that we are more loved than we've ever imagined? What if we're called to let our hearts break open to a possibility for ourselves, our ministry, our planet, like never before? If we truly follow the teachings of Jesus, which we say we do, right? Not only love, forgiveness, kindness, compassion, all of that is love. And so who are we called to be? When we tap into that question and we acknowledge something, an impulse that is within us, like I am called to be globally recognized as a speaker. I am called to be the best transitional minister I can be. I'm called to be the grandparent I can be. I'm called to be the best person I can be in this moment without judgment, but ever evolving, because we are ever evolving as individuals and as a species. We each have our own unique gifts, talents, personalities. And as we love ourselves more, as we love more, that comes out even more and more so. And then we create this beautiful mosaic of individuality. No matter what our life, no matter what our circumstance, no matter what the moment looks like, we bring our unique flavor, our individualized expression of God. That's our second principle, right? One presence is our first principle. We bring that to the palette. We bring that to the canvas of life. And every single voice is equally important. Every single color in that tapestry is equally important. Every single shape is equally important. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. You are not broken. Regardless of the evidence, you are good. You are enough. You are love. You are loved. You are lovable forever because you're on the planet. If we could get that, if we could truly get that, the world would change. If we would truly get that, and that's the work we did yesterday, is beginning to get that, right? Beginning to unravel the places that are unlike that, then we clean our slate. It's like cleaning the windshield of your car. You know how it gets kind of waxy and slimy or sometimes, or whatever. It's like cleaning the windshield of our soul, cleaning the heart of our being, cleaning the subconscious individually and collectively. And when we do that, we are love. And when we love, we are loved and lovable. And when we do that, we truly can attract our next partner in ministry. So I want to take a moment just to activate that, our statement, our affirmation. I want you to not only memorize the words, but I want you to memorize the feeling. Our hearts are open. Our hearts are open in welcoming our new minister and co-creating a path that is spirit-led to our future. Every time we're together, we come to know ourselves more and more. Every time we're together, we come to know the truth of our being, that we are called to even more, that we are called to love and beauty and creativity and grace and innovation. We're called to love. And the more that we know that, the quicker we attract to us our next partner, our next senior minister. So who are you right now in this moment? Who are you called to be? What's that impulse inside of you? Can you accept the fact that you are called to be the glory of God, expressing just as you? Can you accept the truth that we are here to make manifest the glory of God in this ministry, as this ministry, Unity of Springfield? We are called to be love in action. We are called to embody hope for humanity. We are called to our ongoing spiritual growth and awakening. We are called to be the presence, to be the space, to be open and welcoming and accepting of all, to empower, to facilitate that awakening. We're called to be. We're simply called to be. Let's take those thoughts into a time of prayer and meditation. Take a deep breath in. And just notice for a moment what's happening in your awareness. Are you answering the question, yes? Or are you saying, oh, no, not me? And just notice it without judgment. We lay down judgment. And take a moment to come into your own heart space. Come into that point of stillness in your being. Come into that point that is the divine spark, that is the divinity of you. And you came onto this planet with history and lessons and opportunities and challenges and experiences. But what if right now, in this moment, you're called to more love? What if right here, right now, you're called to experience at a deeper level than ever before that you are love? That you are loved. Like, let that crack your heart open again, just exactly as you are, today, right now, in the midst of all of it. You are loved. By spirit, source, creation, by the universe, by all that is. By the essence of your being, you are loved. Just take that in. Notice where you know it's true and notice the places that are still resistant to it. Just notice them. And know this truth. You are lovable exactly as you are. Right here, right now, forevermore. For all time. Beginning of time, end of time, right here. You are lovable. Say, I am lovable. Say, I am loved. And it's in knowing that you are lovable, and knowing that you are loved that you come to know yourself as love. Bask here for a few moments. And together we know that we, Unity of Springfield, is lovable, is loved, and is love. And in those moments that you forget, you have this collective to remind you, to hold you until you remember. Feel the love coursing through your body, through your mind, through your heart, through your soul. Feel the love coursing through this room, whether you're in the room or online. Feel the love coursing through this ministry, through its leadership and staff and volunteers and each and every one of you. Feel it as a gentle flow, like a gentle breeze moving through each and every one of us. Feel it like a river picking us up, taking us. Feel it like a palpable presence. And claim it for yourself. I am love. We are love. We are called to be a greater expression and experience of that love that is God, that is source, that is light, that is creation itself. And if you're willing, will you join us in answering the call to be more love? Do that for yourself. And today we pray it in the name and through the power of that living presence that is love always and forever. We acknowledge it, we realize it, we accept it, we embody it, we allow it. And so it is. And so we let it be. Amen.